microphones on each side, so please raise your hand and wait for the mic.
Yeah, it was a great team victory today. We talked about it as a program that you only get one opportunity to make a great first impression, and our guys, I thought, collectively, offensively, defensively, and special teams, they all contributed to the win. And the best thing that comes out of a game like this for us was we had an opportunity to develop our team as a whole by being able to play some really young players. We feel really good about our ones and what they can do, but we know it's going to be a long season, so to have the opportunity to play a lot of players helps you develop your team. So we were able to get that accomplished. Again, we wanted to start fast. I thought that we did that in all three phases, but there's still some things we got to get corrected. We had a few too many penalties, the missed tackles. We had a few penalties there where we were a little sloppy with our alignments with receivers. We had a touchdown call back. And so those are all correctable moments. And, what I hope is you usually as a team make your biggest jump from week 1 to week 2. And, we will watch the tape. We'll try to get the things corrected that need to be corrected. And then we'll celebrate this for 24 hours and it's on to our next opponent. And with that, I'll open it up to questions.
Coach Ciprieri, ABC7 Sports in DC. You got your first start from Josh Jackson making the transfer over from Virginia Tech. He had to face a lot of adversity to get this situation, and he really shined out there. What does it speak to his ability to battle adversity, come out here, and put on such a great debut for these fans who haven't seen it before? Yeah,
Josh kind of showed what we saw in camp. He's really consistent. As we've always said, he's a coach's kid. And, my affinity for coaches' kids, he understands football, though he did have a little snafu there where he had a 3rd and 5 and he threw the ball down the field. And, but those are some of the things we'll get corrected. But, I was pleased with the way he started. He missed the deep ball early. The ball came out late. Howard came in with the plan that they were going to zero pressure us and play a bunch of man, which forced us to throw the ball early. And I was glad to see us be able to make some adjustments and then get going with being able to manage versus all the pressure that they brought.
Coach, you guys held Howard to under 100 total yards in the afternoon, 0 for 11 on 3rd down in the first half. What was the priority today? What was the focus and what was the execution on the day?
Well, I thought we executed really well, and going into the game, and our philosophy again on the defensive side of the ball is we want to be aggressive and we're going to attack. I thought we did a good job of outnumbering the box, with their quarterback and his ability to make plays on the perimeter. That really concerned us going into the game. And so we did a good job with our defensive ends and outside backers of really keeping them in the pocket. We wanted him to have to win the game in the pocket. And, Coach Hoke and his staff did a great job of putting together a plan. Our guys did a good job executing it. Anytime you get a shutout, it's kudos to the defense because those are hard to come by. So was pleased with the effort, but again, we had some missed tackles in there. We had a few missed assignments that we gave up a couple of explosive plays, but I'm hoping that we get in there, watch the tape, and get those things corrected.
Coach, it's been 1,379 days since you last coached on this field. Can you take me through your emotions from walking out of the shell to the final whistle? Like, what was going through your head? What kind of emotions did you go through?
For me, the emotions really are on the bus ride in. That's like the quiet before the storm, and a lot of things kind of go through your mind as a coach. As the head coach driving in from the hotel to the stadium, a lot of things play through my mind. But once we get here, I become mechanical in that there's things we got to stay on schedule with recruiting and all the other pregame festivities. You really don't have a lot of time to be emotional about it. And so, I do know driving in, there were some memories of what it's like to and how far and where I am to be able to lead a program that I grew up rooting for. But then once we got here, it's on the business, and kind of like we tell our guys, we want to make sure we have emotion, but we don't want to be emotional.
Looking at the first half, I don't have the exact numbers, but I think it was like 15 runs and maybe like 25, 30 passes. Was that about what you were thinking you would see going in, and was any part of that trying to keep running backs healthy and maybe getting to see what you have in the pass game at all?
No, not at all. I mean, if you watch the game, they brought zero pressure. They brought linebackers, they brought guys from all over the field, which makes it hard to run. So when we talk about being balanced on offense, that's being able to do both really well, because if someone's going to try to take the run away from us, which we've got good running backs and they made the decision to stop the run, we were able to effectively throw the football and made some adjustments to manage the pressure to get the ball off, which we didn't do early in the game. So, you know, we're going to continue to try to be balanced in that if a team wants to sell out to stop the run, we have skill on the perimeter, and we've got some quarterbacks that can make throws. And I thought Piggy did a great job, came in and hit some deep balls, and Josh, you know, atoned from the early miss on the double move and came back and threw a few balls in there. So, again, you know, it was dictated off of what they were doing to us defensively.
Mike, I take it that you were not aware that you were 1 point short of a school record for points. In a game like today, is it hard to stay aggressive and without making it look like you're running up the score? I mean, just letting guys play.
No, I mean, we made the decision at halftime. You know, we made some adjustments to be able to run the ball even when they outnumbered us, and we still were able to kind of pop a few in there. But, you know, we've got to call our game. You know, one of the things, as I said earlier, we have to develop our young players. And the only way you develop them is by executing your offense, defense, and special team schemes. And, you know, I talked to Ron after the game, and, you know, he understood that we weren't trying to run the score. That's not, we respect the game. We have respect for the way it should be played. But we also have to develop our team. And, again, you know, we feel good about our ones, and it was great to be able to get so many young players some meaningful minutes for us to be able to coach them up. And because we'll need some of these guys as the year goes on.
Mike, you talked right out of the chute about never getting a second chance to make a great first impression. This kind of new era, how important is it to the program and to you to have a day like this that focuses things forward? You got Syracuse next week, from in a global perspective.
I mean, that's how we operate. I think from the time that we've arrived here on campus as a staff and as the new football family, everything we talked about was maximizing it. And it today was the game against Howard. We were going to maximize every opportunity we had during the course of the game. We'll celebrate it for 24 hours. We'll get back in here on Monday. Sunday's their day off, and we'll start putting together a game plan for Syracuse. But, you know, for us, it's always being in the moment. We don't look back. We're not, you know, thinking of things that happened in the past, and we're not looking too far forward. It's about taking care of business right now, and I thought we did a good job today.
Mike, over here. When you, to build off Don's question, when you have a second half like that where things are out of hand as they were, is it hard to evaluate that kind of stuff? And how well did you think your guys stayed dialed in with the result basically in hand?
Well, it's not hard to evaluate it because, you know, for us at halftime, we knew we needed to make some adjustments because we didn't want to keep throwing the football. And so I thought Scotty and the offensive staff did a good job of putting together a plan to be able to run the ball without having to incorporate the pass. And then for us, when you look at when we don't have penalties, we don't have a lot of sloppy play. I mean, they still brought pressure and still brought guys running through. So fundamentally, there's some things maybe on offense that we got to get corrected with some of the younger players. You know, we were able to get our first team guys out of the game. None of them played meaningful second half minutes except maybe some guys on special teams because of some of the depth issues there. But no, it isn't hard to evaluate it. I didn't think we were sloppy in terms of penalties and guys not being aligned correctly and just a lot of missed tackles. I thought we played a pretty clean game, but we still have some fundamental things to probably clean up.
Can you talk about the depth at the receiver position and what you saw from them today?
Yeah, that's one of the positions, as we talked about, you know, where we had depth, coming in. That was a position that we felt we had some numbers, and, you know, it was just a matter of a lot of more inexperience, and then we lost Jay Sean very early in camp. And so we needed some guys to step up, and I thought today, you know, guys like Dante Demas showed up, Brian Cobb showed up, DJ Turner showed up, and they did things today that we've seen throughout camp. And it was good to see because hopefully we'll gain some confidence from it. And, you know, I think we're going to need all those guys to be playmakers for us, to be the diverse offense we want to be. So I was pleased with the way they managed man coverage, and we won some one-on-one battles.
Coach, right here in the middle.
So you said you were impressed with your ones. Was there anybody particular on the young guys on offense or defense that impressed you today?
You know, because of so many bodies in and out of there, I can't say that I saw, who executed the best. You know, I thought the two offensive line, a guy like Breon Gaddy, who we moved over 2.5 weeks ago maybe to guard, played a lot of meaningful snaps, and he's only going to get better with every snap he gets. And I think Austin Fontaine and Evan all did a good job. Mostly the guys up front because of what they presented to us. Defensively, you see some of those young guys flying around. Cortez Andrews made some plays. Fanaje running around made some plays, and then it was good to see guys like Deontay Banks and Gator out there covering man-to-man coverage and just getting meaningful reps. So until I watch it, it's hard to really gauge who played well of the twos. But I think overall, their execution wasn't bad because we didn't go out and have a bunch of sloppy play, a bunch of punts, a bunch of missed tackles, and that was good to see for a first game.
To your left in the back, Mike.
I know people like to ask you offensive questions, but to me, the defense didn't give up all day. There were so many tackle for losses. You took their quickness away with that relentless rush. What was the secret to getting them off their game so early and sticking with it all day?
Well, the big thing is we wanted to start fast, and we've said that our philosophy on defense is to be aggressive. We had a game plan to where we wanted to keep him in the pocket. He was a guy that showed on film that he extends plays with his feet outside the pocket, and now you've got to go plaster the receivers as he runs around. And so what we basically said is we wanted him to have to win in the pocket, and I thought we did a good job of containing him while still getting the vertical push to force him into some of those negative plays. In the run game, it's just a matter of outnumbering them in the box and forcing them to throw, to beat man-to-man coverage. And they didn't have a lot of time based on how we played.
Second row, center.
Coach, but the two grad transfer linebackers, Shaq and Keandre, each had at least one sack today. Can you just speak to their kind of debut and the impression that they made and how you see them kind of elevating the defense this year?
Yeah, both those guys are high motor, high effort guys, and they've improved our defense just with their presence and how, the habits and behaviors that they have. These guys show up to work. Tuesday, Wednesdays are our big practice days, and they go 100 miles per hour. They're guys that do things the right way off the field. They take great care of their bodies, and their impact has been very meaningful on our team because others have taken notice to the way they do business. So that part has been great to see, and it was good for those guys. Neither one of them played a lot of minutes at other places, but for them to get games and have the type of game they had today, I thought both did some great things, as did all of our grad transfers. Tyler Mabry made a couple big catches, and had he kept his foot in bounds on the one, made a great catch, a great effort on it. So I was pleased with all the grad transfers and what they brought to the table.
You mentioned the wide receivers as a whole, in particular Dante Demas. Did you know coming to this game his big playability, and do you try to game plan to get him in those opportunities maybe down the field?
We said it, the things that we saw Brian Cobb do today, Dante Demas, Darryl Jones, we've seen that in practice. And so those guys played the way they've practiced the last couple of weeks. So we thought they all had the ability. Dante is a big, long, fast guy that builds speed and can be a matchup problem because of his size. I thought the quarterbacks did a good job of putting the ball up and giving them opportunities to make the plays. And again, based on what they did to us defensively, it forced us to have to throw the ball, and those guys made plays, which is expected.
At the end of the game when you have a chance to, make a field goal, instead go for fourth down and, ends up stopping the scoring at 79. Was that done to honor Jordan McNair, and kind of what went into that decision?
No, it was done to have respect for our opponent. Funk broke it out of there, and, I was glad he got tackled, in a perfect storm. We got into a situation where we were trying to manage the clock. We have the ability to tag our runs to make sure that if we break a long that they go down, which, you do that and that's kind of disrespectful. You score, it's disrespectful. So we tried to manage it, but again, we still have to develop our team and develop up front our offensive line. Again, that's an area of depth where we have concern. And so it was good to see those guys come in, but had no idea about 79, 80. I just knew I didn't want us to score again.
Mike, how concerning is it? Early in the game, Josh seemed to have a lot of pressure on him, especially coming from the blind side. How concerning is that to you in terms of trying to get that position solidified?
It wasn't concerning because it wasn't because we didn't block them. It was because we didn't have enough people to block them. They brought zero pressure, and we going into this game, we weren't aware of what they would be, and that's why we talked about adjusting was going to be really big. And so we made the adjustments after the first series. We got extra blockers in there. We condensed some formations to help protect the extra numbers in the box, and we were able to make some big plays out on the perimeter. But just looking at it from afar without having studied it, with the zero pressure stuff, they just outnumbered it. It wasn't as if the opposition wasn't blocking, and they brought more guys than we had in protection.